thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be reviewing the LightSKIN U8 dual beam anti-glare bike headlight. One of the big trends in the bike light market is the development of bike headlights with sharp beam cutoffs and bright output that let you see the road without blinding others. The new LightSKIN U8 that we have here is one of their newest lights in this field with a bright 1000 lumen output and a dual beam lens design. As far as packaging, you can see a nice cardboard box with this little cutout that lets you actually see the light and the lens. All the specs and main features are printed right on it. We'll go ahead and open this up and go over those main specs. So retail price on this is $145. This has 1000 lumen output with a dual beam lens design with a sharp beam cutoff. So it really eliminates all the glare for any oncoming traffic and lets you really light up the road. This also features a nice 5000 milliamp lithium ion battery in here. It's actually non-removable, so you have to charge it by a USB Type-C charging port. The other really cool thing about this is you have dual mounting design, so you can see this bracket is actually removable. You can flip it, put it on the bottom, and then mount this on your handlebar, or leave it on the top side and put it underneath your out front mount. You also get a wireless remote, which is really nice, so you can control this directly from your handlebars and switch modes easily. As far as what you get with this, you can see quite a lot. We have the headlight itself with the bracket already on here. You can see there's two Allen wrenches here, so the Allen bolts, we just remove those and you can flip it. We have the wireless remote, which has a nice backlighting, 3 buttons, and then 2 different straps for attaching to your handlebar. You do get a handlebar mount, so a simple plastic design with the Garmin attachment. And this is if you want to mount it upright, so you'd have to flip this mount around. You also get a bunch of additional stuff, which is something you don't typically see with headlights. So you can see if we go look inside here, we actually have a USB Type-C charging cable. There's a USB Type-C to a standard USB 8 converter, which is something you don't typically see. It's kind of cool, so if you don't have the USB Type-C, you can actually put the converter and then use the standard charger cable. You have a little 2mm Allen wrench for removing that top bracket. And then you can see there's even more additional stuff in here. You have the user guide, as well as a little GoPro to Garmin adapter. So you can put this Garmin adapter on here, and then you can attach this to a GoPro adapter. So it's a nice converter, so if you just have a GoPro on the bottom of your out front mount, you can attach this on there and then get the angle adjustment. Now let's take a look at the weight of the U8 headlight. So the headlight by itself comes in at 186 grams. The handlebar mount, which is just a plastic construction, comes out to 23. And then if we look at the wireless remote, along with one of the longer straps, it's also quite light at only 14 grams. The LightSKIN U8 combines a traditional all-in-one headlight design with modern lens and mounting features. It has a long rectangular form factor that's primarily driven by the 21700 lithium-ion battery on the inside. It's non-removable and has a 5000 milliamp capacity with a USB Type-C port on the rear with this nice little cover behind it. You can see you also have a nice metal body here, so it's very smooth, it goes all the way around. You have the LightSKIN branding on one side and then U8 on the other. They've also incorporated on-the-go charging, which actually means you can charge this while you're using it, using a USB Type-C port, but you can't use the highest mode. And then you can also use this as a power bank, so when you're not riding, you can just plug in another device. One of the coolest things about this is the lens though. LightSKIN is really known for their sharp road style or car style headlights. So you can see you have a very unique design, so dual lens. You have the low beam on top and the high beam underneath that. And you can see it's kind of scalloped, so the high beam projects a little bit upward and the low beam kind of goes downward. These all have a sharp beam cutoff, so you can see when you put it on its side, you have a nice sharp line. And then with the high beam, you can see it extends a little bit upward to give you more visibility. The top low beam is an asymmetrical total internal reflective design. So you can see inside there's a little bit of a cone that really prevents any glare and creates a sharp beam cutoff. You also have all these deflectors here that help spread the beam outward. In the high beam, you can see they describe this as an MLA, which is a micro lens array headlamp technology design, which again does have a sharp beam cutoff, but it is angled a little bit upward, so it gives you more visibility. It's a really compact design, so it doesn't take up that much space, but ensures you're not blinding others on the road. So you can see in the low beam, if you have the standard angle, you won't blind anybody because you have that sharp beam cutoff. This also creates a unique shape, so you can see how it's spread out but cut off. And then with a high beam, you get that additional visibility on top. The other really cool feature about this is the mounting design. So you can see I have 2 screws here, and this actually just goes around the body. So it's a removable Garmin style mount. So what that means is you can install this upside down. So if you have an out front mount, you can put it that way. Or if you have a normal handlebar mount, you could flip this downward and then place the mount underneath it. So it does require a tool, but very simple. And it's one of those features we're hoping other brands really pick up on because it lets you keep that nice asymmetric lens design, which means you shouldn't be flipping this upside down because now you're going to be blinding people. Instead, you keep everything upright and just flip the mount, which is a really simple design. They also provide a handlebar mount, but we'd highly recommend just using an out front mount and then leaving this on the top so you can mount it underneath your computer. This handlebar mount is pretty similar to some of the cat eye lights. So you have this little ratcheting design, and as you rotate this, this will pull the strap and make it tighter. Really simple Garmin design, so this is compatible with just about anything. As far as the user interface, you have 2 buttons on top. You can see they're actually backlit, so when you first press them, it'll show a color. You have 4 different color options, so a solid color, flashing, green or blue, and then red, or just red. What's confusing here is the color actually matches the last mode. So if you're in the low beam mode, it's green. If I go to high beam mode, you see it goes blue, and if I turn it off again, now it's blue. It's a little bit confusing, but it does give you a multi-level battery status indicator. Holding it will turn it on and off, and then pressing the top button will switch the modes, so you can see high and low beam. In high beam, you get both. In low beam, you just get the top. The bottom button will cycle through the modes, so you have the normal, low, medium, high, as well as a flash mode. The flash mode is part of the normal menu, so you do have to cycle through it, which is unfortunate, especially for the daylight mode. Or at night, when you're going through the night flash, it can be quite distracting. Then you can simply hold it to turn it back off. So pretty simple. You also have a wireless remote, which is pretty nice. It's kind of a nicer remote than we've seen with other devices. So it feels really well built with 3 buttons. They're also backlit. What's interesting about this is you can't actually turn the light on and off directly from here, but you can turn the light on and then control it after the fact. So once you turn it on, you can see I can switch between low and high. I can switch between my modes. And then I also have a 3rd button here, which is keep me full max power. So this is their super beam, or the max output mode, the full 1000 lumen. So you just hold it to get that. Pretty nice design with just a little rubber strap that attaches to your handlebar. But the fact is you can't turn it off, which is a little bit weird. So if I hold the top left, it'll go into standby mode, and you'll see it'll be flashing, but it's not actually off. So you do want to power it off from the actual headlight. Here you can see the light output of the light. There's about 7 modes. So you have a low mode, the low beam mode, and then there's low, medium, high, and then a flash mode. You can see as you jump up in the output, the low beam mode is limited to 500 lumens, but still quite bright, and you have a trapezoidal beam shape. Nighttime flash is at low to high pulsing. High beam mode unlocks the full 1000 lumens, and you can see there's a low high beam mode and a high mode. And you can see with the high beam mode, you have more glare as it's a little bit taller of a beam cutoff. Daytime flash is also really nice, so it's a full on-off. Gives you long runtime and ensures they're visible during the day. Here you can see some footage of that in the bright sun. And that ensures they're still visible, so whether you're dressed in all black or bright colors, you'll still be visible to oncoming traffic. As far as nighttime riding footage, here you can see the beam shape. So it's a pretty distinct style. It's almost trapezoidal or T-shape. Really focuses all the light on the ground, which is nice, so you're not blinding oncoming traffic, and lets you really take advantage of the full 1000 lumens. You can see the mode selection does require you to go through flash, so that's really distracting when you're riding. You need to quickly switch between them. And with the 2-button design, it's kind of hard to remember which is which, especially if you're switching between lights. Otherwise, it's a nice light, and we really like the dual lens and then the dual mount. So here we have it on underneath our out front mount, but you could obviously swap it to top. And with low and high beam mode, you can really optimize the output. It's a pretty nice light with some premium features. We also have the LightSKIN NACA Road, which is a really cool topside mounted headlight. So you can see same sharp beam cutoff, a wider single lens, and you can see a really cool spherical lens in here. So you can see it's two pieces. You have the outer cover and then a spherical inner portion. It's a really cool aerodynamic light. It's not quite as bright as the U8, as a bigger battery, but a very unique form factor that'll tuck in underneath your out front mount. With a U8, it's a lot more practical, more affordable and brighter, so it makes a lot more sense for most riders. The nice thing about these beam cutoff is compared to a traditional light like the cat eye, you can see this just has a big square lens. So what you end up with is when you put it on its side, you have this wide cone beam compared to a nice sharp beam cutoff with a U8. So it's really nice to see more companies use a sharp beam cutoff. That is becoming more popular as well. So we have the Trek Commuter Pro here. So it's got Bluetooth connectivity, dual gauges, so it can actually connect to a taillight, which is a really cool feature. So you can control both of them with a single button. You have the nice side visibility, not quite as nice as a lens design. So you can actually see it is a top mounted LED. So on the top you have the LED versus this more advanced lens. It has more artifacts, so you can see when it's on, you have these artifacts on the edges and the little brighter colors at the corners, but it is a little bit more affordable, and you get the Bluetooth connection with your taillight and a sharp beam cutoff, so you won't blind other people on the road. Magishine is also really going into the sharp beam cutoff with their Evo 1700. So a very unique design, almost looks like an old TV. You can see a nice anti-glare design, sharp beam cutoff, a little more artifacts on the edges, but a nice unique shape with this big trapezoid versus the kind of more artifact one of this dual lens design. Magishine also has the Evo 1300. So it's designed to be top mounted, but it's not flippable. So it's actually designed, bolted onto the top. So that's one of the cool features about the U8. You can actually install it on your handlebar, or if you're a road cyclist and you want to put this on your out front mount, you can put it on the top. So it's a really cool feature you don't see, and eliminates the issue with the Evo 1300, which is that the controls are on the bottom, so you can't really see them. So the color coding doesn't matter. And there are brighter lights out there. You are paying a premium for that lens design and the remote, but you can get something like the Magishine Alti 2500S, which has a cartridge style battery, OLED screen for a similar price, but obviously it has glare because you have a traditional cone lens. It also has a DRL though, which is nice. So if you need something brighter and you don't want to spend quite as much, you can go to a more traditional headlight. Now let's go over the pros and cons for the LightSKIN U8. What we like about it is you have a dual-sided Garmin mount. So it's really nice. You can put it underneath your out front mount or mount it on top of your handlebar by just removing 2 screws and reinstalling it. You also have a nice sharp beam cutoff with a dual beam design, which means you can run this in higher modes without blinding oncoming traffic. We also like the high output from the 1000 lumen and the compact form factor. Some of the cons for this light is the confusing indicators, the battery status, and then the high-low mode light colors are all kind of mixed together. Would have been nice if they separated those. Also, the wireless remote can't actually turn the light off completely or turn it on completely, which is a weird limitation. And finally, the flash modes are not separated from the other modes, so you do have to cycle through them. They've only separated the low and high beam, so that really could be separated for a much smoother experience. Taking everything into account would give the light a 9.0 out of 10. It's a clever dual beam light with dual mounting design. Thanks for watching this review. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can see more content from us on our website at thesweetcyclist.com, as well as follow us on Instagram at The Sweet Cyclist. This is The Sweet Cyclist reminding you to enjoy the ride.